আসসালামু আলাইকুম সম্মানিত দর্শক, আমরা ছোট্ট একটা বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতিতে গিয়েছিলাম, আবার আপনাদের সামনে আমরা এসেছি। আমাদের সাথে থাকার জন্য ধন্যবাদ, এবং এই মুহূর্তে যদি আপনারা আমাদের সাথে জয়েন করে থাকেন আপনাদেরকে স্বাগতম জানাচ্ছি। সম্মানিত দর্শক, আজকের আলোচনার বিষয়টা হলো গ্রোথ অ্যান্ড ইকোনমিক ডেভেলপমেন্ট ইন টাওয়ার হান্ড্রেড কাউন্সিল, এবং আমার সাথে টাওয়ার হান্ড্রেড কাউন্সিলের একজন সম্মানিত কাউন্সিলর মতিনুজ্জামান, যিনি হলেন গ্রোথ অ্যান্ড ইকোনমিক ডেভেলপমেন্টের লিড মেম্বার। তিনিকে নিয়ে আজকের আলোচনা আমরা করতেছি। যদি আপনারা আমাদের প্রোগ্রামে অংশগ্রহণ করতে চান, আমাদের স্ক্রিনে একটা নম্বর আছে, সেই নম্বরটা হলো 0203-397-4740। আবারও বলছি 0203-397-4740। আপনারা এই নম্বরে ফোন করে আমাদের সাথে সরাসরি কথা বলতে পারবেন। So Matin bhai, before we went on break, you were telling us about the partnership work that you are doing with the private sector, the NHS, and various other people. And we've talked about the over 50s, the young people. You wanted to say something about the opportunities for women in particular. What are they?
Well, clearly with the major challenges, Doris, by আপনারা জানরা যে আমাদের যে বর্তমান গভর্নমেন্টের যে বেনিফিট পলিসি যে চেঞ্জেস করায় আমরা কমিউনিটি বিভিন্নভাবে এফেক্টেড হয়েছে, and it's really unacceptable. A lot of people, when we knock on the doors, say the suffering they are, and people who never thought about going to work, having to go to work now. So our job as councillors and politicians is to ensure that they have the necessary skills and opportunities to access those opportunities. Yeah, so we create those opportunities in partnership, but then make sure we
provide
train
the skills
to make sure they get that.
Sure,
we match that up. So one of the things that has really worked, so a lot of people who've come to this country, maybe the language skills, so we've got language training happening in all of our idea stores, but most importantly the partnership we're doing with NHS, the women into health, so it could be childcare, it could be health work, becoming a childminder, things like that. There's a lot of schemes of work. So we are working in partnership with Barts Health to create people, getting people into into nursing, into NHS, other jobs. But now at the moment it's in development stage, looking at how we could create, with the Brexit challenges that's coming, there might be a shortage of staff, in nursing and stuff. So even qualified youngsters who are here, who've gone to college and stuff, want to go into nursing, we'll try to create opportunities through apprenticeship levies and stuff to allow those people to go into that by paying for their training, because now the government's pulled their training. We're trying to help see if we could bridge that in terms of allow for those costs to be borne through, we're paying for this through, say, Canary Wharf, education partnership, and us and the NHS, looking how we could put our resources together to create opportunities for local people. But at the same time, the work path is targeting and recruiting people for a lot of those apprenticeships. Apprenticeship doesn't work, it's like young people.
Sure.
We're looking at apprenticeship, for young people as well as people, over 50s and stuff.
Right, okay.
So apprenticeship is not just for people who, young, it's for anybody. It's
right,
on the job paid salary, for a period.
And of course that's very important in this day and age, isn't it?
Yeah, people need that money.
I mean, hopefully with something like that will alleviate poverty within the community, won't it?
Yeah, and I think one of my other role is to help the mayor's manifesto commitment is to help ensure local businesses are encouraged to pay living wage.
Sure.
So obviously as a council, amra jara contractor asun, we get them to pay London living wage, and that's the case. And my enterprise team, the team that's responsible for supporting, advising businesses in the borough, are working with them to look at how we could get businesses, and particularly those we rent out. So amader je property hola ase jara people are running business there, I'm discussing with my officers to develop an article memorandum that people have to sign to say they will do that, so to create opportunities.
Let's just go back to your mayor's manifesto commitment. And you've said earlier on that one of the commitment is to create 5,000 jobs,
5,000
as well as 1,000 apprenticeship.
Yeah.
What is the time scale for this, and how likely is it that the mayor would be able to deliver this within the time scale?
Well, obviously, in terms of the target is set for a political period, so it's for over the 4 years. But I could say the mayor is on my back every 2 or 3 weeks. I have a meeting with him, and he's always asking me, okay, how are we doing with this? So the mayor is asking all the cabinet members on the kind of manifesto that he's set for the term to say, okay, well, that's 6 months gone. Where are we with this? What achievements have we achieved? So I've got over 320.
So it's like a tracker.
Oh yeah. It's a kind of a regular
KPI.
thing. KPI.
Key performance indicators.
I assure you, he's seriously looking at it. So we've got something, I think, scheduled in the end of January or beginning of February, where the chief executive and the mayor will be talking to me and my director.
So what happens if the KPI or the tracker is not met?
Well, I mean, obviously, because his manifesto commitment is over the political period,
yes,
but there are timescales for if you were to achieve that,
yes,
you have to achieve certain parity in the first year,
yes,
so to make sure that you achieve that.
Sure.
And he
course,
he has been given the mandate.
The target has to be one that is achievable.
Yeah.
And you need to make sure, as you've said, you need to put in place
Yeah.
the necessary infrastructure that are required to be able to achieve those targets. So what is the mayor doing to help you to achieve those targets?
Okay. Well, mayor has been very supportive because he believes, particularly, I mean, he's put a lot of money into the anti-poverty fund to help people who are in need, to support them through that process. He's very keen to ensure that the training element, so there's no cuts in those areas. In my portfolio, there has not been huge cuts. He did this deliberately. Even though I put up some little bit of saving, he was reluctant to take it. So he's committed to support the employment, economic development of our borough to the benefit of local people, because he realizes that if we want people to be getting away from poverty, we need to create opportunities for our young people.
Yes,
he has also asked me recently, he said, Martin, that he's not happy with the kind of work experience that people are getting, particularly school age and 16 plus. Mm-hmm. They're not getting a broadened work experience. What are we going to do about that? He wants to raise those aspirations of those young people so that they could see that, in reality, how it's like to be working in an office or whatever. So, and that is something that I've taken that on board, and
sure.
I've met with my officers and look at how we could pilot something to learn from that could work with NHS, private sector, the police. So it could be work experience across the sectors, not rely on EBP, whatever, but it's making sure that we get quality experience for young people when they need it. So if there's 1,000 or 1,200, 1,400 young people that need work experience, we help to make sure that those experiences are of good quality, so that raises their aspirations.
I mean, obviously, when you say we, you mean the council through its partnerships,
yeah,
with
of
the
course.
relevant
And then
agencies.
political leadership
but in terms
given
of
by the
partnership,
mayor.
a lot of the partnership agencies, if I could call them, are being funded through some sort of European funding schemes. With Brexit, some of those fundings are coming to an end. So therefore, for young people to be able to get trainings, skills match, whatever you want to call it, through those partnering agencies, those agencies themselves may not be there after March. So what would happen?
So as part of, in terms of growth, so if there are growths happening, there are, developments happening, we are saying specifically that they have to give a pot of money, particularly to upskills. So it could be skills development, for training our community into that. So there will be still a pots, and that's my, in terms of our team, help to flag up. So if there's still shortage in somewhere, we'll try to get those resources. The mayor has been very supportive in this way, because one of the things that we've also seen, so I've mentioned about, did you mention about the grants? So in terms of third sector grants, the mayor has not cut any third sector grants.
Right.
Okay. And he believes, he values what third sector grants bring to the table. And that has not been cut. We are exposed to huge cuts from the government.
Yes, I mean, the challenges are
huge,
are absolutely
huge.
Yes.
And what the mayor has done, I envy. I mean, people don't see the hours that he does. So 7 o'clock to about 10 o'clock every day, a tunnel. He walks from there, and people see him walking in the rain.
Does the mayor have a social life at all? Or?
Well, when you're a mayor, you don't have time for that.
Life.
You don't have a time for that.
And I
even
suppose
cabinet
John
members,
is
we don't have that.
John is quite content with that, is he?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, his life. When you become a public servant, then that is what your life becomes. You are servant of the community, and he sees that. If you ask him, that, and he's quite passionate about giving people the lift up.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think that he does that quite clearly. When he comes to vulnerable people, particularly social care and all that, you could see the passion that he has for those people, and knows that we need to protect those most vulnerable. But when you're trying to protect the most vulnerable, like other authorities, they don't do that. They say, well, it's not legally responsible. We're not legally responsible for this. So they say, okay, we won't provide that. But in Tower Hamlets, we do a lot of things that we're not really legally responsible for providing.
Right.
And it's easy to say, well, that's not legal, but we need to protect the children's services.
So would you not get picked up by audit for doing it?
No, because government and auditors will say you're not legally responsible for giving meals on wheels. You charge them full money, but these are people who depend on a hot meal. Right, so, but the cost is so higher than what you get from them, and clearly there's a huge imbalance. And we as politicians believe that's the right thing to do. And although officers say this is not legally responsible, you don't have to do this, but then we believe that's the right thing to do. Right. So with the huge budget cuts, you could go certain far, and then things becomes. And I just feel that, the mayor, the amount of meetings, God knows how many we are having to, again and again.
Yeah.
And
it must be quite difficult to be able to balance the book when you've got these kind of challenges that are facing the community. And as you've said, as a politician, you're trying to address those challenges, so that in the one hand, you've got the central government financial restriction, and on the other hand, you've got the needs of the community that you are trying to address. It must be quite a difficult task.
I believe that the way you as a politician have to do is sometimes you have to make some tough decisions.
Yes.
And we obviously advise the mayor in terms of he'll say, well, look, if some politicians will say, well, free school meals that we provide in our borough, nobody else does it in other boroughs.
Right.
In primary schools, we provide free school meals
yes.
to our people.
Yes.
And that it deals with anti-poverty and so on.
Of course, yes. And that's very important for the community as well.
Yes. But that costs millions. Do you understand?
Sure, absolutely.
So the question for us is saying, well, do we still provide that while we're making those choices? Yeah. John feels strongly that we do.
We should.
Because that helps to support people on the most lowest.
Support the community, alleviate poverty in the community and so on. And of course, provide better education for our future generation. Yeah. Okay, look, I'm going to slightly move away because I appreciate that we're probably coming to the end of our program. Whitechapel, very historical place. It's the hub of the community. I know the town hall is moving into Whitechapel in 2020, is it?
22.
22, right, okay. And there's a lot of refurbishment work that are going on at the moment in the old Royal London Hospital, which will become the town hall, centrally based. What are you doing to improve Whitechapel as a whole?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a very, very a right question at the right time, really, I would say. Whitechapel is like the hub, a community hub, I would say, and with the cross trail, আমরা জানরা cross trail এইবো এখান থেকে direct airport যাইতে পারবা.
Yes.
And then also we got you got the hospital, you're going to have new town hall, you're going to have people from a huge number of people coming through this train station and around Whitechapel from all over the world.
Yes.
And this
therefore it's crucial to improve the images.
Is to say, well, this will be the hub, this will be the image of this borough, this will be a place where we want to do. And the question for us is, how do we transform that whole area to make it a pleasant place to come? Because I get people emailing, even the market traders emailing us to say, the water, because the dilemma for us is that you got the Whitechapel word where the the markets is based, that belongs to Transport for London.
Yes.
So that land, it belongs to them. Although the traders, we manage the trading thing, and we got a Royal Mail building you've seen. That's not really appealing. If you look at it, it looks pretty.
Yes, pretty grim.
So what we've done, and the mayor has been very supportive in that, because he realizes the important role that market traders play, and he wants to be very supportive in terms of making sure they continue in the future of the region, the transformation that happens. But so I've kind of asked the Royal Mail. So I've had a meeting with the Royal Mail to come and meet me and my officers and say, what are you going to do what your plans are? If you don't, then give the building to us and we'll do something with it. So from that discussion, they've said, okay, we weren't going to do anything, but now that you want us to do something, we're happy to look at with our architect as to what they can do. So they have.
Will that be a cost to the council, or will they do it on their own initiative?
They will be doing it. So, well, the idea is, look, it looks ugly. It's an eyesore. What are you going to do about it?
Okay.
Sort it out.
Yeah.
So what we've asked them, and they've been very cooperative. So they are now looking at how they could refurbish this building with still having their mail maybe moved to the back, but making that into commercial, residential, maybe part of it. They're looking at what can be done to make that,
which will also generate income for them as well, won't it?
It'll be generate income, but what it will do is make this building much more pleasant, a place.
But it might, sorry to stop you, we have another caller. Let's just take another call. Hello caller, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
জি ভাই, আপনি কে বলছেন এবং কই থেকে বলছেন?
জি আমি ব্যারিস্টার মনিরুল ইসলাম, আমি মতিন ভাইয়ের কনস্টিটিউয়েন্সির একজন মেম্বার।
আচ্ছা, হ্যাঁ বলেন ভাই।
তো আমি আসলে মতিন ভাইকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ, আপনাকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ এরকম যোগ্যোপযোগী সময় উপযোগী একটা কমিউনিটি প্রোগ্রাম আয়োজন করার জন্য।
জি ভাই।
তো আমি এই বিষয়টা একটু জানতে চাই মতিন ভাইয়ের কাছে। মতিন ভাই তো আমাদেরকে বললেন, আমরা খুবই হ্যাপি শুনে যে অনেক ডেভেলপমেন্ট ওয়ার্ক হচ্ছে। বিশেষ করে আমাদের কমিউনিটি, আমাদের যে বেতনাল স্টিকন এরিয়া, এই এরিয়াটাতে হাউজিং এর একটা অনেক ক্রাইসিস, এবং এই এরিয়াতে অনেকগুলো হাউজিং কিন্তু নতুন নতুন তৈরি হচ্ছে। তা এখন কাউন্সিল মতিন ভাইদের পক্ষ থেকে এরকম কোনো বিষয় থাকবে কিনা যে যখন ডিস্ট্রিবিউশন করা হবে এখানে নিউ বিল্ডিং গুলা, যে আমাদের রেসিডেন্ট, লোকাল রেসিডেন্ট যারা, তাদেরকে ফার্স্ট প্রায়োরিটি দেওয়া হবে, যে বাইরের থেকে লোক এনে এখানে দিবে না। আমরা যারা স্টেপনি গ্রিনে দীর্ঘদিন থেকে বসবাস করতেছি, হাউজিং ক্রাইসিসের সাথে সংগ্রাম করতেছি, যে তাদেরকে প্রায়োরিটি দিয়ে এই নিউলি বিল্ড হাউজিং অ্যাসোসিয়েশন বা কাউন্সিলের হাউসগুলা ডিস্ট্রিবিউট করার কোনো পরিকল্পনা মতিন ভাইয়ের আছে কিনা, সেটা একটু আমার এলাকার জনগণের পক্ষ থেকে জানতে চাই।
থ্যাংক ইউ ব্যারিস্টার সাহেব আপনার গুরুত্বপূর্ণ প্রশ্নের জন্য। I'm not sure if that comes under your portfolio, Mutin bhai.
Assalamu alaikum. Mutin, thank you so much. And I know employment is important, but people need to have a home that to live in. I would not say those.
Will priority be given to local people in the new development?
I can't talk about the ones that are already happening, but in terms of any regeneration that happens in my ward, there is a letting policy that will allow, and I'll be, campaigning to ensure that if you are kind of regenerating an area, that there has to be some local opportunities given. There will be some of those, but it's not like it'll be a small number, I would say. But that is for any regeneration happening in different areas. We want to make sure that local facilities are given, because when the allocation happens, they have schools, because it's to do with school places and so on. So where that is an opportunity in terms of regeneration, because when you demolish a building, then there has to be a priority. There is a priority given to those people to be able to remain within the local area, and there are opportunities given. They get a bit of a say.
Especially if they have children going to local schools and stuff like that.
They get that. But clearly, we also want to make sure that, for example, huge redevelopment happening in Sydney Street, that whole area is going to be like a big city. And then there will be people from all over the borough getting opportunities. But obviously, as a local councillor in Stepney,
so you will be out there campaigning for local people.
I would want to, because the housing is happening in Stepney area, I would want to make sure that we get local people, because it's so to do with their school places. Because what happens is everybody who has children move out to Docklands. How are those schools going to survive? So we need to make sure those balances are there as well.
Thank you, Barrister Shab. I hope that answers your question. Okay, look, we're getting very close to the end of our program. Just very quickly, before we finish, what are the challenges that are facing the community, i.e. with Brexit, For example, what implication it will have on service provision, what implication it will have on employment opportunities, and of course, the budget challenges that we've talked about already.
Well, that's right. The challenge for us is that when we were having good time, when you had a lot of money as a council, we were able to do a lot of things, and we didn't expect people to contribute. We didn't expect people to pay. So what will happen is in order to sustain some of the most vulnerable services, things that we're not legally responsible for, there will be some sort of cost cuts. So what you do, instead of cutting the services, we say, okay, we could still have it, we'll part fund it and look at that.
Thank
so
you. But then one last comment.
Okay.
So we are almost at the end of the program. What's your vision for the future?
Okay.
Very quickly.
Well, for me, it's to be able to serve the residents of the borough, and particularly as a local councillor, our residents, and not creating the opportunities, fighting their corner, and the mayor is doing that. I would only say to you that the mayor has never, when I've asked for support in terms of investment in Whitechapel, transforming that, because investment in Whitechapel is a hub.
Thank you,
so he has
sorry,
been
we have
supportive.
come to the end of our program.
So, yeah, thank you.
So, Shomanita Darshok, thank you for watching the program. It leaves me to say that I've had a very enjoyable year, and I hope you've had too. Please have a wonderful new year, and we shall see you again in 2 weeks' time, hopefully in 2019. Thank you and good night. Matin bhai, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.